Harley Davidson dealerships are scrambling to dump these 7 Sportster models as soon as possible, and it is not hard to see why. These bikes were supposed to dominate the streets, but instead they have been gathering dust in showrooms. In this video, we will break down exactly what went wrong, why riders rejected these models, and how dealers are desperately slashing prices just to clear them out. And make sure to stick around because number 1 is going to blow your mind. Number 7. Harley Davidson Street 500 and 750. Harley Davidson has always been known for its heavyweight cruisers and touring motorcycles, but over the years, the company realized that it needed to bring in younger riders. With an aging customer base and increasing competition from international brands, Harley Davidson sought to create an affordable, lightweight motorcycle that could serve as an entry point into the world of Harley ownership. Enter the Street 500 and Street 750. 2 motorcycles designed to appeal to new riders who wanted a smaller, more manageable bike for city commuting and weekend rides. On paper, these models had everything a beginner could ask for: a low seat height, lightweight frame, liquid-cooled engine, and an easy-to-ride nature. The Street 500 featured a 494 cubic centimeter engine, while the Street 750 stepped up to a 749 cubic centimeter engine, both powered by Harley's liquid-cooled Revolution X engine. This was a major departure from Harley's traditional air-cooled V-twin engines, which were known for their signature sound and feel. The goal was to provide smooth power delivery and efficient cooling, making these motorcycles ideal for urban riding. They also came with modern styling, a narrow frame for better maneuverability, and a price tag significantly lower than Harley's larger models. At first glance, it seemed like a great idea. The motorcycles were even used in Harley Davidson's Riding Academy programs to train new riders, further reinforcing the idea that they were perfect for beginners. However, once the motorcycles hit the market, problems started surfacing almost immediately. The biggest complaint? Build quality. Many owners quickly realized that these motorcycles felt cheap, with rattling parts, misaligned panels, and low-quality finishes. Unlike the premium feel of Harley's larger cruisers, the Street 500 and Street 750 felt like budget motorcycles in the worst way possible. Another issue was the design. Harley Davidson tried to make these motorcycles look modern and stripped down, but they ended up lacking the iconic presence that traditional Harley motorcycles were known for. Veteran Harley riders dismissed them as too plain, while younger riders, the very demographic these motorcycles were targeting, were not particularly drawn to the design either. When placed next to competitors like the Honda Rebel 500 and the Yamaha Bolt, the street models simply did not stand out. And then there was the competition. The Street 500 and Street 750 were not just competing against other Harley Davidson motorcycles. They were going up against well-established entry-level motorcycles from brands like Honda, Yamaha, and Indian, all of which offered better performance, higher quality finishes, and lower prices. For example, the Honda Rebel 500 provided better comfort, superior styling, and a more refined ride, making it an easy choice over Harley's street models. To make matters worse, dealer support for these models was inconsistent. In many locations, dealerships focused on selling their larger, more profitable motorcycles, which meant street model owners struggled to find replacement parts, accessories, and proper service support. This lack of enthusiasm from Harley's own dealers only made the motorcycles less appealing to potential buyers. But if you thought this budget Harley was a disaster, wait until you see the next bike. A Sportster that failed at being sporty. Number 6. Harley Davidson Street Rod. After the disappointing performance of the Street 500 and Street 750, Harley Davidson decided to take a different approach. The company knew that its entry-level models had failed to attract younger riders. So instead of creating another lightweight beginner motorcycle, they decided to double down on performance. The result was the Street Rod, a sportier, more aggressive version of the Street 750, designed to appeal to riders looking for both cruiser attitude and sport bike handling. Harley hoped that by making a motorcycle with better suspension, more power, and aggressive styling, they could win over a younger audience who wanted a machine with attitude and speed. The Street Rod featured a more powerful Revolution X engine, producing 18% more power than the Street 750. It also had inverted front forks, dual disc brakes, gas-charged rear shocks, and 17-inch wheels with grippy tires for improved handling. Marketed as a performance cruiser with sport bike DNA, it aimed to bridge the gap between Harley's traditional cruisers and more agile models from Yamaha and Honda. On paper, this sounded like a promising upgrade. However, when riders finally got their hands on the street rod, disappointment quickly set in. The biggest issue? The riding position. Harley attempted to give the motorcycle a sporty, aggressive stance, but in doing so, they made a critical mistake. The combination of raised foot pegs, high handlebars, and a compact frame resulted in an awkward, cramped riding position. Instead of feeling agile and fun, the motorcycle felt restrictive and uncomfortable, making longer rides a literal pain in the back, neck, and wrists. Then there was the styling problem. While they aimed for a modern urban look, the street rod ended up stuck between two worlds. It was not a true sport bike, and it did not have the classic cruiser aesthetic that Harley fans loved. Traditional Harley riders dismissed it as too generic, while sport bike riders were not impressed enough to switch from brands like Yamaha and Kawasaki. And once again, the competition crushed it. With a starting price of $8,999, riders had way better choices. The Honda CB 650R, Yamaha MT-07, and Kawasaki Z650 all provided superior performance, lighter weight, and better comfort, all at a similar or lower price. The street rod simply could not keep up with these established competitors, leading to disappointing sales. Just like the Street 500 and Street 750, the quality issues did not help either. Owners reported poor fit and finish, rattling parts, and a general lack of refinement, all of which hurt its reputation even further. Instead of feeling like an affordable performance Harley, it felt like a budget bike, trying too hard to be something it was not. As a result, dealerships found themselves stuck with unsold street rods, and they have been slashing prices to get rid of them ever since. Even with discounts, riders are hesitant to buy a motorcycle that neither performs well nor delivers the Harley experience. Speaking of Sportsters with an identity crisis, the next bike was supposed to bring modern power to the lineup, but ended up disappointing riders instead. Number 5. Harley Davidson FXDR 114. Harley Davidson has built some of the most legendary cruisers in motorcycle history, but every once in a while the company takes a gamble on something radically different. Sometimes these bold moves pay off, but other times they crash hard. The FXDR 114 was supposed to be a high-performance muscle cruiser that blended futuristic styling with Harley's trademark power. Instead, it became a motorcycle that dealerships cannot get rid of fast enough, even after its official discontinuation. When Harley Davidson introduced the FXDR 114, it was marketed as a modern power cruiser designed to stand out. The motorcycle was powered by the Milwaukee 8 114 engine, which delivered an impressive 119 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the most powerful softail models at the time. The motorcycle was built with an aluminum swing arm, a massive 240mm rear tire, and lightweight composite bodywork, all of which contributed to its aggressive, drag racing-inspired look. Harley Davidson wanted this motorcycle to attract riders who wanted a muscular, high-performance cruiser with modern styling, but despite its impressive specifications, it failed to gain traction in the market. The biggest issue with the FXDR 114 was its uncomfortable riding position. Harley Davidson gave the motorcycle a low-slung, stretched-out stance with forward foot controls and a flat drag-style handlebar. While this setup may have looked great on the showroom floor, it proved to be highly impractical for real-world riding. The aggressive position placed too much strain on the back, wrists, and neck, making it uncomfortable for long-distance cruising. Many riders found that even short rides left them feeling fatigued, which is a significant drawback for a motorcycle intended for powerful, high-speed riding. Another major issue was its handling, or lack thereof. The FXDR 114 was built for straight-line speed, but the enormous 240mm rear tire made cornering a challenge. Riders found that the motorcycle felt heavy and sluggish in tight turns, making it impractical for city riding or curvy roads. Unlike other Harley-Davidson cruisers that balance power with maneuverability, this motorcycle prioritized looks over function. Many owners quickly realized that despite its powerful engine, it was simply not enjoyable to ride for extended periods. The final nail in the coffin for the FXDR 114 was its price tag. When it was launched, the motorcycle had a starting price of $18,999, which put it in direct competition with other performance cruisers that offered better handling, more comfort, and similar power at a lower cost. Riders looking for a high-performance cruiser could choose motorcycles like the Indian Scout Bobber, Yamaha V-Max, or even Harley Davidson's own Lowrider S, all of which provided better comfort and handling while maintaining a strong visual presence. As a result, sales never took off, and Harley Davidson ultimately decided to discontinue the model. However, dealerships were left with large amounts of unsold inventory, and to this day, many still struggle to sell the remaining FXDR 114 motorcycles. In an attempt to move these motorcycles off the showroom floor, dealers have been offering massive discounts, sometimes cutting thousands of dollars off the original price. Despite these efforts, the FXDR 114 remains one of the biggest misfires in Harley Davidson's modern lineup. If you thought the FXDR 114 was a failed experiment, wait until you see the next bike on the list. A motorcycle that had real performance but never truly felt like a Harley Davidson. Number 4. Harley Davidson V-Rod. Some motorcycles are ahead of their time, but when a brand strays too far from its identity, things can get messy. That is exactly what happened with the V-Rod, a motorcycle that had the performance, power, and unique design to succeed but never truly found its place in the Harley Davidson lineup. Even years after production stopped, dealerships are still struggling to move the remaining models, proving that not every innovation finds its audience. The V-Rod was unlike anything Harley Davidson had built before. It was designed to compete with high-performance muscle cruisers and sport motorcycles, featuring a liquid-cooled 60-degree Revolution V twin engine. This engine was co-developed with Porsche and delivered 120 horsepower and 84 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the fastest motorcycles Harley Davidson had ever produced. It also had an aluminum frame, drag-style handlebars, and a massive 240mm rear tire, giving it an aggressive stance and a 0 to 60 time of just over 3 seconds. But despite all of these impressive features, the V-Rod had one major problem. It did not feel like a Harley Davidson. The motorcycle was too different from the slow-revving, torque-heavy, air-cooled motorcycles that Harley Davidson riders were used to. Traditional Harley Davidson enthusiasts did not embrace it, while sport motorcycle riders found it too heavy and bulky compared to their usual options. The V-Rod ended up stuck between two worlds, too modern for Harley Davidson purists, but too heavy for performance riders. One of the biggest complaints about the V-Rod was its lack of the signature Harley Davidson sound and feel. Harley Davidson motorcycles are known for their deep, rumbling V-twin engines, but the liquid-cooled Revolution engine had a higher revving, smoother character, which did not deliver the classic Harley Davidson soul. Additionally, the motorcycle had limited customization options, which is a huge drawback for a brand that prides itself on aftermarket modifications. Modifying a V-Rod was far more expensive and complicated than customizing a traditional softail or touring model, leading many riders to avoid it altogether. Another major issue was its tiny fuel tank. The V-Rod came with a 3.7-gallon tank, which meant frequent stops for refueling. For a motorcycle designed to be a powerful long-haul cruiser, this was a significant drawback. Riders looking for a more touring-friendly Harley Davidson had better options, such as the Road Glide or Street Glide, both of which offered more comfort, better storage, and significantly longer range. Once again, competition played a role in the V-Rod's downfall. For nearly $17,000, riders could buy a lighter, more agile, and less expensive performance cruiser from brands like Ducati, Yamaha, or Indian. While the V-Rod was incredibly fast in a straight line, its rideability and comfort left much to be desired. As a result, sales never reached expectations, and after 15 years of trying to make the V-Rod work, Harley Davidson finally discontinued it in the year 2017. However, the problem did not end there. Many dealerships still have V-Rod models sitting in their inventory, unable to find buyers. Despite its performance capabilities, the motorcycle never truly found its place in the Harley Davidson lineup. If you thought the V-Rod strayed too far from Harley Davidson's roots, wait until you see the next bike. A Sportster that was ahead of its time but had one massive issue. Number 3. Harley Davidson LiveWire. When Harley Davidson first unveiled the LiveWire, it was supposed to mark the beginning of a new era for the company. This all-electric Sportster was designed to appeal to a younger, tech-savvy audience and position Harley Davidson as a forward-thinking brand in the motorcycle industry. On paper, the LiveWire seemed like a revolutionary leap into the future. It featured a permanent magnet electric motor that produced 105 horsepower and 86 pound-feet of torque, allowing it to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. The battery range was an impressive 146 miles in city riding conditions and 70 miles per hour on the highway, making it well suited for urban commuters. The motorcycle also boasted high-end components, including Showa suspension, cornering anti-lock braking system, and a 6-axis inertial measurement unit for precise handling. Harley Davidson was not just experimenting with electric motorcycles, they were betting big on this technology. However, despite its cutting-edge features, the LiveWire faced a massive challenge from the start. Traditional Harley-Davidson riders simply did not want an electric motorcycle. For decades, Harley-Davidson motorcycles had been defined by their loud, rumbling V-twin engines, the distinct feel of shifting gears, and the raw mechanical soul of a gasoline-powered bike. The LiveWire, in contrast, was completely silent and had no gears to shift. Just instant torque delivered with a simple twist of the throttle. This fundamental departure from the Harley-Davidson experience alienated the brand's core audience, making it an extremely tough sell. The high price was another major factor that sealed LiveWire's fate. When it was first released, it came with a jaw-dropping price tag of $29,799, making it more expensive than some of Harley-Davidson's most premium touring bikes. The steep cost alone discouraged many potential buyers. Eventually, Harley-Davidson dropped the price to $22,000 in an effort to attract more riders, but even with this discount, the LiveWire continued to sit in dealerships untouched. The limited highway range of 70 miles made it impractical for riders who enjoyed long-distance cruising, and although it supported direct current fast charging, many found it too inconvenient compared to the quick refueling of a gasoline-powered motorcycle. Adding to the problem, Harley-Davidson's core customer base was aging, and younger riders were not flocking to the brand as the company had hoped. Instead of appealing to a new generation, the LiveWire ended up stuck between two worlds. Too futuristic for loyal Harley fans, yet too expensive for younger riders interested in electric alternatives. Meanwhile, competitors like Zero Motorcycles were offering electric bikes at lower prices with similar or better performance, making it even harder for the LiveWire to carve out a niche. Dealerships quickly found themselves burdened with unsold LiveWire inventory. Even with massive price cuts, they simply could not move these motorcycles. In an attempt to salvage the project, Harley-Davidson spun off LiveWire as its own sub-brand, hoping to separate it from their traditional lineup and attract a different demographic. However, the damage had already been done. Now Harley-Davidson is desperate to clear out remaining inventory, and dealerships are slashing prices just to get rid of them. But if you thought the LiveWire was a bold failure, just wait until you see the next bike, a Sportster that tried to go off-road but stumbled hard. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Pan America. Harley-Davidson has long been synonymous with heavyweight cruisers and classic touring bikes, but in the year 2021, they made an unprecedented move by entering the adventure motorcycle segment with the Pan America. Designed as a Sportster-based adventure bike, the Pan America was meant to take on industry giants such as BMW's GS Series and KTM's Adventure lineup. Harley-Davidson hoped this bold move would allow them to expand into a completely new market and attract riders who preferred off-road capability and versatility over traditional cruising. On paper, the Pan America seemed promising. It was powered by the Revolution Max 1250 engine, delivering 150 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the most powerful adventure motorcycles on the market. Harley-Davidson also introduced some innovative features, such as an adaptive ride height system that automatically lowered the seat when the bike came to a stop, making it more accessible to shorter riders. The motorcycle was equipped with a 6.5-inch touchscreen display featuring navigation, multiple riding modes, and all the latest technology expected in a premium adventure bike. It also had adjustable suspension, tubeless spoked wheels, and a rugged frame designed to handle rough terrain, all of which indicated that Harley Davidson was serious about competing in the adventure bike world. Despite these promising features, the Pan America faced several major obstacles. First, Harley Davidson had zero experience in the adventure motorcycle segment, and many experienced adventure riders were skeptical about whether Harley Davidson could produce a truly competitive off-road machine. When the first wave of Pan Americas hit the market, early buyers reported a series of issues. Some experienced electronic glitches, while others complained about rough low-speed handling and a top-heavy weight distribution that made the bike feel unstable at lower speeds. Additionally, while the adaptive ride height system was a unique innovation, some riders found it unreliable in off-road situations where stability and predictability are crucial. Another issue was the bike's overall weight. Weighing nearly 600 pounds, the Pan America was significantly heavier than some of its key competitors, making it more challenging to maneuver in technical off-road conditions. While the power and torque were impressive, many riders felt that the sheer bulk of the motorcycle made it less nimble than adventure bikes from brands with decades of off-road expertise. This further alienated potential buyers, many of whom opted for lighter, more refined alternatives from BMW, KTM, or Honda. Then there was the issue of competition. With a starting price of $17,350, the Pan America was priced competitively against the BMW R 1250 GS and other high-end adventure motorcycles. However, riders who had long trusted brands like BMW, KTM, and Honda were hesitant to switch to Harley Davidson for their off-road needs. The skepticism combined with early reliability concerns led to a slow adoption rate, and soon dealerships found themselves sitting on excess Pan America inventory. While Harley Davidson has made improvements to the Pan America since its initial release, the damage was already done. The adventure bike community had already moved on, and Harley Davidson struggled to gain any lasting traction in this competitive market. Now dealerships are heavily discounting remaining units in a desperate attempt to clear inventory. And now for the most overpriced Sportster on this list, a bike that even Harley Davidson's biggest fans refuse to buy. Number 1. Harley Davidson Custom Vehicle Operations Street Glide. The custom vehicle operations lineup has always been positioned as the pinnacle of performance, comfort, and style. These top-tier motorcycles come with premium paint jobs, high-end components, and exclusive factory customizations that are not available on standard models. The Custom Vehicle Operations Street Glide was no exception. It was meant to be the ultimate luxury Sportster, offering riders the best that Harley Davidson had to offer. It packed a Milwaukee 8 engine delivering 115 horsepower and 139 pound-feet of torque, fully adjustable suspension, a state-of-the-art Rockford Fosgate sound system, and a massive 12.3-inch full-color touchscreen display loaded with Harley Davidson's latest infotainment system. It also featured a host of premium design elements, including diamond-cut finishes, hand-painted graphics, and custom-stitched seating, all intended to elevate it above the standard models. Despite all of these high-end features, the Custom Vehicle Operations Street Glide had one massive issue: its price. With a staggering price tag of $50,000, it cost nearly double that of a Street Glide Special, which already provided 90% of the same experience for only $28,000. While the Custom Vehicle Operations model offered a bigger touchscreen, a fancier paint job, and a few extra luxury touches, most riders felt that it did not justify the additional $20,000 in cost. The core functionality of the bike remained nearly identical to the lower-priced models, making the premium price tag feel excessive. Even Harley Davidson's most loyal customers balked at the price, and dealerships quickly found that moving these motorcycles was nearly impossible. Unlike standard models, which tend to hold their value well, custom vehicle operations models often suffer from heavy depreciation as soon as they leave the dealership. Most riders looking for a high-end Harley Davidson preferred to customize their own Street Glide rather than pay an exorbitant premium for factory-installed extras. In the world of Harley Davidson, personalization is a huge part of the culture, and many enthusiasts would rather invest in aftermarket upgrades than pay a massive markup for pre-installed factory modifications. Another factor working against the custom vehicle operation Street Glide was the shifting motorcycle market. Younger riders, who Harley Davidson has struggled to attract, were looking for more affordable and practical options, while traditional Harley Davidson buyers, who might have been interested in a premium model, saw little value in spending $50,000 on a bike that did not significantly outperform cheaper alternatives. The economic climate also played a role, as rising costs of living made it harder for even dedicated Harley Davidson fans to justify such a massive expenditure on a motorcycle. As a result, sales for the custom vehicle operation Street Glide plummeted, and dealerships became desperate to offload them. Some have resorted to offering significant discounts, but even with price cuts, buyers remain hesitant. The harsh reality is that when even die-hard Harley Davidson fans refuse to buy a Sportster, you know there is a serious problem. The custom vehicle operation Street Glide is a prime example of what happens when a brand prioritizes exclusivity and luxury over actual value. Sometimes even the most dedicated customers will say, "No thanks." That wraps up our list of 7 Sportster models dealerships are desperate to dump. Which one surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think.